As we learn more and more about the people who will ultimately be serving in Donald Trump's presidential administration, not only are we witnessing the solidification of the American oligarchy, seeing that this is the richest administration in modern American history, but we're also seeing the worst of what humanity has to offer. And I really mean that, because not only is he putting forth people that are genuinely stupid, but they're establishment insiders that show genuine contempt for everyday Americans. Now, this is all after Donald Trump famously proclaimed this.
It is time to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C. We are going to drain the swamp. Drain the swamp. We're going to drain the swamp of Washington. We're going to have fun doing it. We're all doing it together.
So when it comes to draining the swamp, Donald Trump isn't draining the swamp. In fact, he's deepening it and then refilling it with even more corrupt people than were in the swamp to begin with. So let's start off with his Secretary of State choice, Rex Tillerson. So this guy is the CEO of ExxonMobil, and he's obviously pro-fracking, but get this, he is literally suing to stop fracking near his house. The Nation explains, Tillerson and his super wealthy neighbors are concerned, the lawsuit states, that the tower, which will just store water for fracking, might devalue their properties and adversely impact the rural lifestyles that they sought to enjoy. So he loves fracking, but just don't do it in his backyard. Now, he also has zero diplomatic experience, and according to The Hill, Tillerson negotiated an energy partnership with Putin that the Russian president said could be worth $500 billion. The following year, Tillerson received the Russian Order of Friendship, one of the highest awards the country bestows upon foreign nationals. Reuters reported earlier this year that the ExxonMobil deal with Russia had been put on hold due to sanctions levied against the Kremlin for its annexation of Crimea in 2014. The company has said it intends to resume the deal after sanctions are lifted, a process that Tillerson could help expedite as Secretary of State. So you have a Secretary of State that's not really looking out for the interests of the United States. He's looking out for the interests of ExxonMobil. So do you think that the country or the planet will benefit from this? Absolutely not. So this is why I'm saying he's choosing the worst of what humanity has to offer. Now, since this guy is a complete idiot, he's going to be a puppet of the Deputy Secretary of State. Do you want to know who that is? That is John Bolton. He's one of the few people that unapologetically supports the war in Iraq. Till this very day, he's still pro-Iraq war. Now, he also doesn't want America to be part of the UN, and he also advocated for the US to invade Iran. So The Intercept explains, if Bolton becomes part of the Trump administration, he'll be an extremely loud voice for war with Iran. In November, he said that overthrowing Iran's government is the only long-term solution to the country's supposed threat to the US, and he subsequently added that he hoped Trump would move very quickly in the early days of his presidency to abrogate the Iran nuclear deal. That guy who is calling for war with another country, which would lead to millions of people potentially dying, he's going to be in the State Department. He'll have an influence over the next president. That's terrifying. Now, another one, Andrew Puzder will be the Labor Secretary. He is the CEO of Hardee's and Carl's Jr., is a vocal critic of government regulation, and opposes a $15 minimum wage, broader overtime pay, and the Affordable Care Act. He's also against paid sick leave for employees, and in states with higher labor standards, his companies have been accused of violating those standards. Now, to get even more Orwellian, Trump, in a statement, credited him with an extensive record of fighting for the workers. Now, Donald Trump isn't entirely wrong, because he's fighting for the workers, all right. He's fighting for robot workers, because this guy, who is the labor secretary of the country, just to remind you again, he's in favor of automation. So he wants to replace all those workers with robot workers. So when you go into a fast food restaurant, you just type in your order and then it's delivered to you that way. You don't have to have a person take your order. If he really is in favor of this and pushes for this, that will cost millions of jobs around the country. Now, also, I think it's funny that this guy's against a $15 minimum wage. He thinks that's too much, yet his yearly salary at Carl's Jr. is more than $7 million. That is a perfect example of greed and establishment cronyism that just makes me sick about politics. And now we've also got Rick Perry. Remember this clip?
And I will tell you, It's 3 agencies of government when I get there that are gone. Commerce, education, and the, what's the third one there? Let's see.
You need 5.
Oh, 5, okay. So commerce, education, and the
EPA?
EPA, there you go. No, okay.
Let's talk deposition.
Seriously? Is EPA the one you were talking about? Or?
No, sir. No, sir. We were talking about the agencies of government. EPA needs to be rebuilt.
But
There's no doubt about that.
But you can't name the third one?
The third agency of government,
Yeah.
I would do away with the education, the commerce, and let's see. I can't. The third one I can't. Sorry. Oops.
The third department that he forgot about was the Department of Energy. And as if shit couldn't get any more crazier, well, he'll now be leading that. Again, this whole thing reads like a comedy movie, but it's real. This is real life.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Now, you also have Betsy Devos as Education Secretary. She is, of course, another billionaire, and according to Washington Post, the nomination of Devos, a conservative who has pushed to expand taxpayer-funded vouchers for private and religious schools, has rankled liberal lawmakers and teachers' unions. The nominee has no experience as an educator or education leader, but has spent millions of dollars lobbying for school choice proposals. She also owes $5.3 million for violating campaign finance laws in Ohio. So what's her qualification, you ask? Well, she's a billionaire. Trump's a billionaire, so he's qualified to be president, so why isn't she qualified to be the education secretary? She's a billionaire. Now, Jeff Sessions is his choice for attorney general. According to the New York Times, in 1986, President Ronald Reagan nominated Jeff Sessions, then a United States attorney from Alabama, to be a federal judge. The Republican-controlled Senate rejected Mr. Sessions out of concern based on devastating testimony by former colleagues that he was a racist. So Reagan's conservative Republican Congress said, no, this guy's too racist for us. This guy will now be Trump's attorney general. Now, he also supports a federal Muslim ban, and as attorney general, he could destroy state laws that allowed for the legalization of marijuana. And if you think that he won't do that, well, he is someone who states that those who smoke marijuana are just bad people. And these are just some of his more egregious picks. So let's not forget that a former Goldman Sachs executive, Steve Minuchin, will be Secretary of Treasury. Or let's also not forget that he offered the CEO of Goldman Sachs, Gary Cohn, a directorship at the National Economic Council. And let's also acknowledge that he bribed A-list celebrities with ambassadorships, all to get them to perform at his inauguration. And to show you how serious he's taking this job and perhaps why his choices are so far just complete idiots, well, he's being helped by his children.
Donald Trump's transition turning into quite the family affair.
Make America great.
As the president-elect taps Montana Congressman Ryan Zinke to lead the Interior Department, a source says Donald Trump Jr. helped interview candidates for the post. This, as another source says, Eric Trump sat in on a meeting with Mitt Romney as Donald Trump evaluated his Secretary of State option.
I can't believe that I'm saying these words, that these are the people who Donald Trump is choosing, that he's trying to get A-list celebrities. He's so desperate to seem likable and get people to like him. He's trying to bribe A-list celebrities, we don't know who, but A-list celebrities with ambassadorships. You want to be the ambassador in Norway? We'll just come and perform at my my inauguration. I don't care if you don't know anything about this country and you're not qualified at all and you're just a celebrity, but you know what? My popularity is more important than the world and the country. It's just absurd. Now, Bernie Sanders summarized my feelings of this whole situation perfectly in less than 140 characters. He states, it's called a rigged economy and this is how it works. Gone are the days where a president simply just appoints someone who's going to be a puppet for the industry. Donald Trump is cutting out the middleman and he's just straight up appointing people from the industry. You want someone to be kind to fast food restaurants? We'll just appoint someone who is the CEO of Carl's Jr. I mean, this is something that is just... it makes my head explode. Like, I'm on the verge of watching my head pop off my body and roll around on this fucking floor right now. It's just crazy. So, look, Trump, if you're going to appoint a bunch of CEOs with zero policy or diplomatic experience, fine. At least appoint some of the smart ones, maybe. I mean, he is choosing Elon Musk. It looks like he will serve an advisory role to Trump, so I guess there's that silver lining, right? But this is so troubling and also puzzling. It's just weird. Like, we have people running government who have no idea what they're doing. This is really scary.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.